All right, welcome to another edition of Monday Momentum. My name is Laurie McNaught, and I am your Scale Up Business Coach. As today, though, I'm talking about things from a mindset standpoint. This Monday Momentum is designed to start you off on your week on a positive note, on something that will allow you to do more, be more, and have more. So I'm not going to dive too far into the deep end in terms of from a business coaching standpoint, but more from a standpoint of like, how do we create a unlimited, unstoppable mindset? So this lesson here today is I'm going to be talking about the six human needs, and these six human needs, this idea or concept, I first came across when I was at a Tony Robbins event back in, I think it was 94, 95. And since then, I don't know the origins of this six human needs, but from what I read recently about it was that this was something that Tony really put the meat on the bone, so to speak, and he teaches this now to psychologists. And I'm sure you're going to see this when we go through this, is how incredibly powerful it is to understand, what the six human needs are, and then how do we fulfill them for ourselves. And I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to keep it around more related to ourselves and our mindset rather than around a company or a business standpoint. Now, you can take and extrapolate this and how you can help drive this for your company and your team. So those six human needs are certainty, variety, significance, love, connection, and growth, and then contribution. So why does it matter? Well, every decision we make is an attempt to meet one or more of these particular core needs that we have in our lives, whether that's I'm trying to create some level of significance, or I'm wanting to be more certain, or I want more variety, or I want love and connection, or I want growth, or I want contribution. Those things are always driving us. Uh, and if we harness them the right way, they're going to drive us in a positive way. If we don't harness it in the right way, they can drive it in a negative way. So understanding these needs will help you influence yourself first, and then you can influence your team and coach your team. So, in business, if these needs are not met, they can often lead to discouragement in your team, end up being poor communication between the leadership team and the rest of the team, and create burnout, more than likely for you over everybody else. So just keep that in mind. So so when you unlock this potential, you want to look at it from the perspective of, where does this affect me and how does it affect my life? And how, if I focus on this, it's going to make a difference for me. So from a personality need or a personal need, significance, variety, certainty, variety, significance, and love are more from a personality need. And then from a spiritual need is that growth and connection. So certainty, what is a description? Well, it's that thing that gives you that level of, I know that I'm headed in the right direction. I know that I can have all my needs taken care of. I know that making enough money to retire on, or I know that I'm creating a life that's exceptional. That's your level of uncertainty about that. So, clear expectations, consistent routines for yourself. Uh, and as I said, I'm not going to get into the business coaching end of this so much. But from the perspective of your employees want to know that they have job security. So it's not a healthy thing to create job insecurity, to give them that drive for variety or uncertainty, if I could put it that way. So if you don't have enough you have too much certainty in your life, it can lead to a lot of boredom. If you have too much, it can lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. So variety. This is our need for change. This is our need for something new to be happening and to always be searching for things that are going to give us that new experience, if I could call it that. And it's, as it says here, novelty and some new stimulation. So new projects, always be innovating from your own perspective, but also be innovating in your company. You might want to create flexible roles for people so that they can have some variety. But look for areas in the way that you do your business that can create variety for you as well. And this, if you don't sort of balance this out, you could lead to a lot of chaos and stagnation inside your company, and chaos inside your own inside your own self, and or stagnation, meaning there's just nothing going on, no growth. So significance is the desire to be significant. When I think about, when I got into this coaching business, so I've done a lot of personal development through the 90s, and then so I did a lot of personal and professional, that's what I wanted to say, professional development as well. And I thought, I want to do something that makes a bigger difference. And so that's why I got into this line of work, because as a salesperson who traveled up and down the highways, I was B2B, so I was always talking to business owners. And over the 15 years that I did that kind of work, I saw people, good people, come and go. Good people who had right intention, but didn't get what they needed. So for me, I felt like I was going to get a significant amount of significance from that. So think about it from your own perspective: is where do you need to show your significance? What drives you in terms of making you making you feel significant? And is this a primary driver, or is it a less driver? So, it's like it says here, it's feel the need to be important, unique, respected, and special. And in business, recognition and titles and leadership roles for people. Yeah, it says, when unmet people will act out to prove them. So you want to be aware of that. If you're not giving people that feeling of significance, then they're going to act out in ways that probably are not healthy for you and your company. So the fourth need is love and connection. It's the desire to, be connected to other people and to have a healthy relationship with your significant other. I saw this whole program about uh, around the world where people, an inordinate amount, percentage of people live to be over 100 years old. And they said there's three primary drivers that make that happen. One is they are very active because they don't live in a convenient world like we live in, where we drive to the grocery store or we phone up DoorDash and have them deliver our groceries, or whoever to deliver our food. They don't have that level of convenience. Most of the food that they consume, they grow themselves. And so there's also a lot of movement around, growing food and having to, hike up to your garden or whatever, sit in the garden and do all this work. So there's a lot of activity, physical activity. And then the other one was connection. So eating healthy, getting lots of exercise, and your connection to other people. So this is a significant one of the six human needs, is to be connected and feel that level of love for somebody, something, somewhere. So in your business, you just want to do team bonding, empathy, and collaboration. As it says here, insights, if they're unmet, you're going to have some disconnection in siloed teams. So you won't have people working together, which is, the opposite of what you want to have happen in your business. So the fifth need is for growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. If a plant's not growing, you're dying. In the universe, as it says, if you're not growing, you're dying. So what are you doing to grow? Now, for me, for the first 25, 26 years of my life, I didn't do a lot of mental growing, let's put it that way, intellectual growing. Physically, I was like very, very active. I did a lot of things. I lived a fairly reckless life. And then one day I decided I needed to, have a career and have something to create a life for myself. And so I started to focus in on different things. And that's when I first started reading. You may have heard this story before. I started reading about personal development and started to make changes in my life. And so it's that understanding. I still do that today. As you can tell, I'm not a teenager anymore, but literally I read and consume knowledge and information every day, in part because it keeps me sharp, not in part because if you don't uh, learn and grow, you're going to become dull. Sorry, I couldn't put it any other way. So you need to be in improving, you need to be learning, you need to be expanding. And I think it's a good idea to do expansion around your consciousness and awareness of how this all fits in together. What's the purpose of life? Why are we here? What does it mean? And how does this connect to everybody else on the planet? So when you start to do that, it starts to expand your brain. It starts to lighten up different parts of your brain, and your brain starts to rewire itself, and you start to learn new things. And all of this stuff is things that you can share not only with yourself, but your family and your team. So in business, you want to make sure that you're training your people, you want to give them good feedback, and you want to help them create goals that stretch them, not a goal that's easy to make. If you made, you know, $1,000 in sales in one day, or 10,000 in a month, or 20, or whatever that is, and you want it to be a stretch. So you might say, well, if I made 20 grand last month, I want to make $23,000 this month, if that makes sense to you. So, what does it say? Coaching insight, growth is essential. I think anybody that's not growing is missing out on something hugely valuable and beautiful about life. So stagnation leads to disengagement. If you're talking about with your company, disengagement with your team. But if you're talking about yourself, your disengagement with your own life, disengagement with your family, disengagement with your friends, disengagement with society as a whole. Understanding that there's more to this world than what we see. And the fact of the matter is we're all interconnected and woven together in the fabric of human societies, human beings. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's just make sure I cover. Yes, okay. So contribution, that's giving back. Uh, I've been a uncle at large, big brother, part of junior achievement. I've cooked meals down at the Mustard Seed, different things to help me feel like I'm making more of a contribution. Now, I really look at what I do for a living as a contribution, even though I'm well compensated for it. If when I help a business owner, let's say, working 7 days a week and get them down to a 5-day working week, uh, help a business owner who had little or no net profits in their company and really wasn't taking a lot of money out for themselves. And I helped them increase the profitability of their company to where it should be. And so they have more free time and more money. I don't know. That seems like a contribution to me. I think I'm excited when I get the feedback from clients who, like I said, they were working all these hours and now they've got their life back and they're having fun and they're not stressed out, they're not anxious, they're having a better life. And then when I do team workshops, whether that's team alignment days or strategic planning days or any kind of training workshops that I do, I love watching people grow. I love watching people expand. I love challenging people to step up and watching them do that. To me, that's a contribution. And then it's really exciting. So it's beyond myself is the point of this. And for you, it's beyond yourself. What do you do that's beyond yourself? And if you think about from your perspective, what do you do to contribute? If you've got a family, what do you do to contribute to help them experience life in a good way? But in your community as a whole, what do you do to help make a difference for people? I can tell you unequivocally from my own perspective, and not just my own, because I've certainly read this plenty of times, is that contribution is the purpose of life. Being of service to others is this purpose of life. And if you're helping your team grow and expand and become the best that they can be, I 100% guarantee that your level of fulfillment is going to go through the roof. So contribution is a huge part of that. So how needs drive behavior? Well, behavior is an attempt to meet those needs. So micromanaging could be a form of seeking certainty. I've certainly worked with a lot of clients who micromanaged people, and it's a not a strategy for growth inside your company. I guarantee it, 100%. Micromanaging does not help you grow. It might give you some level of certainty, but it doesn't help your company grow. And we all, as I talked about earlier, need to be growing. Overworking, I'm the hardest working person here, gives you a level of significance. Other people complain, that gives them their level of significance. Arguing for their own limitations, that gives them some level of feeling like they're significant. So, just keep that in mind when you're looking at these 6 human needs. So let's look at them in a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to read this off. It's kind of small printing, but so certainty, empowering is creating routines, planning ahead, building financial stability. Variety, from an empowering standpoint, is learning new skills, exploring hobbies, and traveling. If you haven't traveled to other countries, you need to do that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I don't mean traveling to Hawaii or traveling to some 5-star resort someplace. I'm talking about traveling someplace where you will experience the culture of that country is life-changing. So significance, mentoring others. If you're the owner of a company and you got a leadership team, mentor those people and teach them how to mentor the people who answer to them. Achieving excellence and being a role model for success. People are looking to you, whether you like it or not, as a business owner or as a parent. They're looking to you to understand how the world works. And if you don't understand how the world works, guess what? They're not going to understand how the world works, and you're going to have chaos. So love and connection, building trust, being vulnerable. Vulnerability, if you haven't seen or heard Brene Brown, you need to read her work. Or there was a special on Netflix. I don't know if it's still up, but very, very powerful in understanding that you cannot be courageous. And we all want to be courageous, right? You can't be courageous if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable. So, give you an example from a physical standpoint. If you jump out of an airplane, do you think it's going to take some courage to do that? Absolutely, it's going to take some courage to jump out of an airplane. Are you being vulnerable? Absolutely, because albeit it's a small chance when you're about to jump out of a plane, it seems like a big chance that you might be killed. But as a leader, if you're conducting a business meeting, you are being vulnerable because you're putting yourself in a place where people may disagree with what you're teaching or the direction that you want to take your company, whatever that might be. You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position, but it takes courage to do that. And it takes courage to be open to the feedback that you get from everybody as well. So let's see here. Love and connection, building trust, being vulnerable, spending quality time together. Don't neglect your family. Don't neglect your family. Don't say, I'm doing this for my kids, working all the time. Don't do that. I can tell you from personal experience who had a father who neglected his family. And it was mostly, I think, because he didn't know how to deal with kids. Because once we became adults, he wanted to have a relationship with us. But by then, it was a very difficult thing to do because by then it was hardwired in us that he didn't help fulfill the needs that we had as children, as kids. So please, if you have children, make sure that you spend quality time with them. Don't put your work above them. Don't say, I'm making all this money for them. That's bullshit. You're making that money because you don't want to either deal with that or you want to make more money for yourself. And sorry for the coarse language, but sometimes you got to use a word that really has impact. And coming from, again, a family who their father basically neglected them for years, I'm just saying, don't do it. Don't do it. It makes it difficult. Growth, volunteering, giving back and creating an impact. Do what you do. Do what you do to grow for yourself and then help other people grow. It'll have a huge impact on you and your life. So using these 6 human needs in coaching conversations is for first off, is I want to identify what are the top 2 needs that you have as a client. So if you're working with one of your team members, what is the top 2 needs that that client needs? Do they need to feel certainty? Do they need to have growth? Do they need to have love and connection? Do they need to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So explore how they're currently meeting those needs. Like I said, sometimes people micromanage to fulfill a need, but that is not going to allow your company to grow. It's going to stagnate your growth. Design better strategies that support growth and contribution. So think about that, read about that, journal about it, uh, whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, team engagement through, I was mostly focusing in on a personal standpoint, but as a business coach, it's hard for me not to touch on that. But, build some certainty with structure and communication with your team. Offer variety through different kinds of things like new roles or cross training, and recognize the contributions that people make to satisfy their need for significance. So if somebody does a job that's above and beyond the call of duty, that reflects your vision and your mission and your core values of your company, or they do something extra special for somebody on the team, or even for somebody outside of the company, they've done something, recognize that. Recognize that. It goes a long way to making connection as well. So here's the homework for you is to, what are the 2 needs that drive you the most? What are your needs that are not being met or being met in an unhealthy way? So as it says here, which 2 needs dominate the decisions that you make for yourself first and then with your company? So awareness leads to empowered choices for you, your team, and your business, and your family, and the community you live in. Okay, so that's my presentation for today. I trust that you're going to take these 6 human needs and focus in on what are the 2 dominant ones for you, and how you're fulfilling those needs, and find healthier ways to fulfill those needs. And there's lots of different ways: mindfulness, meditation, exercise, going for a walk, going and hanging out with some friends, doing extra special things with your family. All those sorts of things are healthy ways to fulfill those needs. If you're a business owner and you have a team of at least 5 people, you're doing on the other side of $1.5 million in revenue, and you're feeling like you're a little bit stuck and you're trying to figure out, how do I break through this next level without this thing consuming my entire life? Just click on that link, or put that link into the address bar. Book yourself a 15-minute discovery consultation. I want to see if there's some synergy between us, and ask you and talk to you about the challenges that you're facing. And if I feel like I can help, then we'll book a longer complimentary coaching session from there. Thanks for listening. I hope you got some value out of this. Make sure you just don't watch this and do nothing with it, because that means you do nothing with anything. And how you do anything is how you do everything. I think next week I'm going to talk about neuroscience, and how understanding of neuroscience will help you tap into your strengths and the strengths of the people around you. So thanks for listening. I look forward to the opportunity to one day having a conversation and seeing how we can help. Take care and have yourself an awesome day.